Bold and the Beautiful. Worst romances of 2025. Bold and the Beautiful fans, today we're going through the absolute worst romances of this year on B&B, counting down from not great to completely disastrous. Let's jump right into it. We're starting at number 5 and working our way to the single worst pairing of 2025. Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke Logan and Nick Maroney. Comeback misfires and lost potential. Number 5 goes to Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, and Nick Maroney, Jack Wagner. A long time ago, Brooke and Nick were a strong match, but this round fell completely flat. Brad Bell hyped, Nick's return heavily, with Jack Wagner hinting there was a major storyline ahead. But despite the build-up, nothing meaningful materialized. Brooke and Nick had potential, but it went nowhere. Brad Bell later revealed in an Italian interview that Brooke's endgame was always Ridge, making the entire comeback storyline pointless. Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester. Destiny recycled again. I was hoping for a fresh Brooke/Nick direction, especially since Brooke clearly needed a break from Ridge Forrester, Torsten K. But Bell doubled down on Destiny again. The show used a contrived boating disaster to shove Brooke and Ridge back together, ending any real chance of Brooke and Nick reconnecting. Number 4 is Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig. Fans knew it was doomed the minute it started. Ridge inevitably chose Brooke again, repeating the same cycle viewers have seen for decades. A Ridge/Taylor pairing could have worked if written boldly, but instead it was a retread with an inevitable ending. Bold and the Beautiful. Remy Price and Electra Forrester. Obsession, stalking, and toxic fixation. Number 3 is a disturbing one-sided non-romance between Remy Price, Christian Weissman, and Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace. This storyline began in late 2024 and resurfaced in 2025, centering on Remy stalking, deepfakes, and fixation on Electra. Her past trauma resurfaces once Remy re-enters her life through Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon. Electra and Remy made the list, but so do Remy and Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn. Deke is simply too grounded to be tied to someone this manipulative. Bold and the Beautiful. Luna Nozawa and Will Spencer. Obsession, manipulation, and tragedy. Our number 2 worst pairing is another obsession-turned-nightmare. Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, and Will Spencer, Crew Morrow. Luna set her sights on Will after Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, secured her pardon. After surviving a shooting and being nursed back by Lee Finnegan, Luna's fixation escalated dramatically. She manipulated Will, got him drunk, assaulted him, and tried to force a pregnancy. After a miscarriage, a prison escape, and being struck by a car, she's presumed dead, ending one of the darkest storylines of the year. Bold and the Beautiful. Carter Walton and Hope Logan. No chemistry, no build-up, no logic. The number 1 worst romance of 2025 is Carter Walton, Lauren St. Victor, and Hope Logan, Annika Noel. This pairing came out of nowhere. Carter suddenly claimed long-standing feelings for Hope, despite previously dating her Aunt Katie Logan, Heather Tom. The show invented history that didn't exist, and the two spiraled into increasingly unethical behavior, including Hope Logan pushing Carter to stage a power grab. Their chemistry was lukewarm at best, and the storyline collapsed under the weight of its own contrivances. Bold and the Beautiful. Hope Logan, Carter Walton, and Liam Spencer. Consequences and rebounds. Hope eventually agreed to marry Carter, even though she still wanted Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton. The fake cancer crisis exposed how hollow their relationship truly was. Their breakup felt inevitable. And frankly, even their disastrous pairing was more interesting than rehashing Hope versus Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes would, over the same men again on Bold and the Beautiful. Hope is now back with Liam, while Carter Walton moves on with Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire. Here's hoping 2026 brings fresher, better written romances for everyone. They say love is the heartbeat of the bold and the beautiful. But in 2025, some relationships didn't just break hearts, they shattered them, confused audiences, and left fans asking one important question. How on earth did that happen? From messy rebounds to toxic patterns and unbelievable pairings, 2025 has already delivered some of the most controversial romances in recent soap history. Some couples imploded publicly, others faded away with a whisper, and a few burned down everything and everyone around them in slow-motion emotional carnage. So grab your popcorn, because here are the worst romances of 2025 and how they blew up. 1. Hope Logan and Jack Finnegan, the scandal nobody wanted. When this pairing first dropped, social media erupted, not with excitement but disbelief. Hope Logan, heartbroken and vulnerable after yet another blow-up with Thomas, found comfort in the last person anyone could have predicted. Jack Finnegan, Finn's father. It started with emotional support, then long talks, then lingering looks. By the time they finally kissed, it wasn't chemistry, it was chaos. Finn was devastated. Steffi was furious. Sheila? Sheila laughed. But the worst part wasn't the shock value, it was how quickly it fizzled. Their romance lasted barely 6 weeks before Jack admitted he still carried guilt and unresolved feelings about Sheila. Hope walked away with the realization she had become someone's temporary escape, not their future. Fans still call it the most unnecessary romance in B&B history. And they may not be wrong. 2. Carter Walton and Paris Buckingham again? Carter Walton deserves a stable, epic love story. But in 2025, he made one of the worst romantic reversals the show has ever written, returning to Paris Buckingham. Their reunion wasn't passion, it was pattern. Paris fell back into Carter's life after a string of failed relationships, and while they tried to tell themselves fate was giving them a second chance, everyone else could see the truth. They weren't soulmates. They were placeholders. Red flags returned quickly. Paris demanding commitment before Carter was ready. Carter overcompensating with grand gestures. Jealous explosions over harmless interactions. Their romance reached a breaking point during an embarrassing public confrontation at Forrester Creations, where Paris accused Carter of never loving her enough, and Carter admitted, "I want love that feels right, not love that feels forced." Their breakup wasn't tragic. It was Liam Spencer and Electra Forrester, a match built only on drama. When Electra Forrester arrived in Los Angeles with style, mystery, and a dangerous agenda, a triangle felt inevitable. But of all possible suitors, pairing her with Liam was the least believable and the most chaotic. Their relationship was based on jealousy, rebounds, Liam trying to prove something, Electra craving power and media attention. Fans quickly labeled the pairing the most forced romance since Hope Liam Steffi round 48. The real explosion came when Electra used her relationship with Liam to access confidential Forrester documents. Documents she later leaked through a third-party fashion investor. Liam was humiliated. Electra walked away with a smile. This wasn't love. It was strategy. 4. Bill Spencer and Taylor Hayes, a beautiful disaster. On paper, Bill and Taylor had potential. Two mature characters with history, emotional baggage, and a need for redemption. In reality, their romance was doomed the moment it began. Bill tried becoming a calmer, softer version of himself for Taylor. Meanwhile, Taylor felt pressured to accept parts of Bill she fundamentally disagreed with, including his alliances, his risky business dealings, and his unpredictable temper. Their partnership wasn't balance. It was compromise until neither recognized themselves. The final straw? Taylor accidentally learned Bill had secretly investigated her past therapy files. Not to harm her, he claimed, but to understand her better. Taylor's response? Love doesn't need surveillance. She walked away, quietly dignified and done. 5. Deacon Sharp and Lee Finnegan, the shock pairing that never found its heart. Their dynamic was interesting at first. Deacon's unpredictable humor paired with Lee's sharp logic. A slow-burn enemies-to-maybe-lovers setup had potential. But the execution? Oh, it crashed fast. The problem was simple. They never connected emotionally. Every conversation felt like a job interview or a negotiation. There was no tenderness, no spark, no vulnerability. Their arguments became more compelling than their kisses. Lee eventually said what the audience was thinking. We don't bring out the best in each other. By the time they ended, it wasn't heartbreak, it was mutual exhaustion. 6. Thomas Forrester and Ivy Forrester. The attempt at chemistry that never lit. Thomas returned in 2025 focused, calmer, and determined to build stability. Pairing him with Ivy Forrester, the sweet, safe, drama-light cousin, seemed like an attempt to rehabilitate his character. But the romance suffered from a fatal flaw. No heat. No tension, no real story. They were two attractive people standing next to each other, with nothing to say. Even their breakup was polite. We want different kinds of futures. Fans barely noticed it ended. What all these romances had in common. Every failed relationship in 2025 shared 3 issues. Lack of emotional foundation. Most began from convenience, crisis, or rebound. Not love. No character growth. Rather than evolving, characters repeated past mistakes disguised as new storylines. Drama without payoff. The shock value faded long before the storylines built meaning. The result? A year where heartbreak wasn't tragic, it was predictable. So, what comes next? If there's one thing we know about the bold and the beautiful, it's this. A bad romance doesn't end a story. It starts a better one. Rumors are already swirling. A redemption love story for Hope. A surprising connection for Finn. A shocking return for Ridge and a secret admirer. And possibly, finally, a real love story for Carter Walton. 2025 may be the year of terrible romances. But it may also be the year characters finally learn from them. Because in Los Angeles, love never dies. It just resets. And returns with a more dramatic wardrobe. Bold and the beautiful. Luna runs amok in the marshes. What happens next? Bold and the beautiful sets Luna Nozawa free once again. And this week on the CBS soap, we see her frantically running through the marshes near the beach house. This time, Luna wasn't legally set free. Instead, she escaped prison by hiding inside a batch of soiled laundry with a goal in mind. Bold and the beautiful. Luna Nozawa crazed. All it took was a social media post last week on Bold and Beautiful to set Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, on a deadly mission. She took one look at Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, in a post with his girlfriend, and she lost it. While the beach house is Will's new place, and Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, plans to spend a lot of time there, she hasn't moved in. But the caption of the post, New Digs, leaves Luna with the impression that Will Spencer and his girlfriend moved in together. And now Luna is out to fix this. But before she runs amok in the marshes, she makes it to the beach house, where she finds Will alone. He is frank when giving her a shove-off. The youngest Spencer son leaves no question as to where he stands as far as Luna is concerned. He doesn't want her, and that is it. B&B, Luna pleads her case. The bold and the beautiful fans know how Luna handles anyone who gets in her way. So, chances are Electra is soon in danger. But the hunt is on for the lunatic pregnant woman, as the B&B preview shows people in the marshes chasing Luna in the dark. Among the hunters, we see Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, chasing her granddaughter while trying to get Luna to turn herself in. So, this leads to the question of Luna Nozawa's fate. Will she live, die, flee, or find herself captured? Bold and the Beautiful has a few ways they can go with a pregnant Luna, who nobody wants running around free. She could be captured in the marshes and head back to prison. Or she could see an opportunity to disappear, leaving everyone else thinking she is dead. Bold and the Beautiful. Where will they go with the crazy lady? On the Bold and the Beautiful preview, you can hear the pleas coming from the folks chasing her, begging Luna to give herself up. This comes after Will's words devastated her, as he made it clear they have no future together. So she may give up. But that scenario is unlikely, especially since it doesn't offer much drama for the soap. This chase takes place near the ocean, which gives her a perfect location to fake her death. All she would need to do to stage a drowning is to discard a piece of ripped clothing and disappear. And even without a body for evidence, it is a feasible fate. But if BNB keeps her alive and tucks her away in prison, she can stay off the screen for a long time. Once the baby is born, she could surface again or not. Just the baby would work for future drama-filled storylines. But if Luna is kept alive, then just the thought of her looming for a future storyline conjures up all kinds of plots for her return somewhere down the line. Signs of redemption? Sheila Carter's redemption is still in the works for several characters who just won't buy that she's a changed woman. It seems the soap knows how to take someone to the point of no return, but somehow still make that return possible. Sheila is one example of this. She was just too evil for redemption at one point. But still, she is about halfway there today with Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, as her husband. Some viewers think they might attempt to do the same for Luna. But this would be one hard sell for many fans. It would be a harder sell if somewhere in the future they try to bring Luna and Will together. Yet, fans think it is unlikely that the Bold and the Beautiful would ever venture that far for the sake of drama. B&B, Luna sits on the shelf. Luna Nozawa's character could have died several times, but she's been kept alive. So, it looks like the powers that be from the CBS soap are invested in keeping her in the loop. Then, if she is captured or fakes her death, this would let the character go back on the shelf for any future storylines. With this nut job carrying a Spencer heir, the floodgates could open in the future for a treasure trove of storylines. That's if Bold and the Beautiful keeps Luna Nozawa alive. Again, even if it looks like she dies, the soap could resurface Luna down the line, saying she faked her death. But for today, many viewers were happy to see her finally emerge from that dirty laundry cart. Watching her peek through the soiled linens started to grow old for the viewers of the CBS soap. The marshland outside Los Angeles wasn't a place anyone would associate with glamour, couture, or famous designer labels. Yet here Luna Nozawa found herself, stumbling through knee-deep mud with trembling legs, wild eyes, and a torn dress that once looked runway-ready. Her hair clung to her face in tangled strands as she gasped for breath, leaving footprints that dissolved seconds after she trudged forward. The fog was thick, heavy, swallowing sound and swallowing her. It felt alive, like someone or something was closing in. Luna didn't know how long she'd been running. She only knew one thing. Someone wanted her gone, and she wasn't sure anymore whether she was running from them or toward something far worse. Earlier that day, the Forrester offices were electric with tension, a barely controlled chaos as whispers traveled through every department. Ridge and Steffi were arguing behind a closed door. RJ paced. Brooke looked like she'd aged 5 years in one morning. And Bill Spencer? He was on the warpath. Bill stormed through the executive hallway, jaw clenched, fury radiating off him in waves. His security team followed close behind him, looking uneasy. RJ intercepted him at the elevator. "Bill, you don't know everything. Please don't make this worse." Bill turned slowly, voice low and dangerous. "My son loves her. He defended her, protected her, believed every word she said. And now she's missing, after someone tried to paint her as unstable." RJ swallowed. "You think she was set up?" "I know she was," Bill growled. "And I will find out by who." At that moment, the elevator dinged, and John Finnegan stepped out, breathless and visibly rattled. They found her. RJ froze. Bill stiffened. Brooke gasped. Finn glanced around, then said it. "Luna's alive, but she's not well." Into the marshland. Hours earlier, Luna remembered arguing with someone, but her mind was fragmented, as though memories had been chopped apart and drowned. She could hear a voice, cold and calculating, saying, "Run. No one will believe you now." Then the marshland swallowed her. Every step she took sank into muck, as though the earth wanted to pull her underground. Moonlight glimmered off dark water, casting eerie reflections of twisted trees. The scent of moss and rot clung to her skin. She clutched her side where a branch had torn fabric and possibly flesh beneath. Her trembling fingers came away, streaked with blood. Luna forced a breath. "Stay alive. Just keep moving." But the marsh wasn't silent. Something rustled behind her. She froze, listening. Footsteps. Steady. Purposeful. Human. Her pulse skyrocketed. She turned and bolted deeper into the wetlands. At the marsh edge, flashlights cut through the thick fog as Finn, RJ, Bill, and 2 rescue workers trudged forward. "We should split up," RJ suggested. Bill shook his head sharply. "We stay together. Nobody separates until she's found." Steffi, who had reluctantly joined, stayed close to Finn. If Luna's confused or panicked, the last thing she needs is strangers everywhere. She might run deeper. Finn nodded. "She's been showing signs of psychological distress for days now. The outburst at the office wasn't normal. The paranoia, the hallucinations." RJ snapped back, defensive and raw. "You think she did this to herself? You think she wants to be lost out here? Something happened to her. Someone drugged her or manipulated her." Finn didn't argue because, truthfully, he suspected RJ might be right. The marsh felt wrong, like someone had picked this location intentionally, isolated, unforgiving, nearly impossible to navigate without experience. Someone wanted Luna lost, maybe forever. Luna's breakdown. Luna collapsed against a tree trunk, shivering violently. The fog around her glittered strangely, like glitter dust swirling through the air. She blinked. No, not glitter. Fabric sequins. Dozens. Hundreds. Floating like fireflies, then twisting, forming a shape. A figure. Tall. Sinister. Smiling. "Did you really think they loved you?" the apparition whispered. "You were a plaything. A mistake. A replacement they never wanted." Luna shook her head fiercely. No, RJ loves me. Bill cares. Finn said, her breathing sped up. "You're not real. You're not real." But the figure stepped closer, then closer, until its cold breath touched her ear. "Run, Luna, because once they find you, they'll destroy you themselves." Luna screamed and ran. Reality. First cracks. Behind the hallucinations, a faint, familiar voice broke through. "Luna!" RJ. Her name echoed across the marsh. Hope mixed with fear. She skidded to a halt, panting. Her hands shook. Her eyes darted around, wildly. Is this another illusion? Another trap? "Luna, please! It's me!" His voice cracked. That tiny fracture. Raw. Wounded. Cut through the fog in her brain. RJ. Safe. Love. She turned. RJ. But before she took a step, a shadow moved behind her. A real one. A human one. Hands shot forward, grabbing her wrist. She cried out. "Don't fight me," a cold voice hissed. "You're not leaving." The confrontation. Finn was the first to hear Luna scream, and the search party broke into a sprint. When they reached a clearing, what they saw sent adrenaline surging through everyone. Luna was on the ground, struggling with someone dressed in black who had their face covered. Bill didn't hesitate. He lunged. The masked figure shoved Luna aside and tried to run, but Bill tackled them with the force of a man possessed. Finn rushed to Luna, while RJ nearly collapsed beside her, pulling her into his arms. "You're safe now," RJ whispered over and over, like a desperate prayer. Luna trembled uncontrollably. I didn't imagine it," she choked. "Someone was chasing me." "You're okay now," Finn assured gently. "We've got you." Meanwhile, Bill tore the mask from the attacker. Gasps echoed through the marsh. Steffi's hand flew to her mouth. Finn's jaw dropped. RJ froze, because staring back at them wasn't a stranger. It was Poppy Nozawa, Luna's mother. The truth breaks loose. Poppy didn't struggle. She just stared, expression unreadable. RJ stepped closer, voice cracking. Why? Why would you do this to her? Poppy's eyes flickered with something. Regret? Calculation? Fear? She knew too much, Poppy murmured. She found out things that could destroy everything. Bill stepped forward, voice like ice. You drugged her. You sabotaged her career. You drove her into panic and confusion, all because you were scared she'd talk. Poppy's silence was confirmation enough. Luna's breath hitched. Her voice was small, broken.